Eric Show. The Eric Show. Inspiration, motivation. One vision, hope to one new generation. Together we can live and learn. Yes, we're one family. On the Eric Show.
Welcome to the show. Here to talk about living with type 1 diabetes is Ronaldo and Imani. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Ronaldo, you're a young man, right?
Yeah.
When
Yes.
did you understand that you're diabetic?
Since 2010.
Since 2010.
Yeah.
How old were you then?
About 12.
12 years old.
Yeah, just entering into high school.
Yeah. What did that mean to you then?
Then, at the beginning, it was really disturbing and shocking, knowing about the condition and having it at that tender age, in a sense. But after experience and learning a lot about it, I just learned to live with it.
Right. How did they detect it? What began to happen to you?
All right, so I was like, it was the first week of school, and then I was seeing like symptoms like frequent urination, tiredness, blurry vision, and then I was complaining to my mom, and then my auntie, which I call auntie, but it's actually like my neighbor,
Right.
like a family friend, close family friend. So I was telling her this, and she brought me to the doctor.
So Imani, when did you learn about being diabetic?
In 2015,
Yeah. How old were you then?
10.
10 years old. What did that mean to you?
It was devastating.
What made it so devastating for you?
The needle sticks and like, it was hard. They couldn't eat like other stuff to see other kids eating and so forth.
So you could always enjoy everything before, and now they were telling you what?
You have to limit it and cut down on the sweets.
Yeah. No, what were they telling you, Ronaldo?
Telling me, so basically, you always heard about diabetes or sugar. So basically, I in the past I didn't really know much. I just thought it was a condition that elderly people had.
Yeah.
So I learned from doctors, and I had support from support group meetings. Dr. Tollery, they had a support group meeting. It was in Crossroads, St. Luke's Church. There were other children, and I went to like camps
Yeah.
for diabetes.
How do you feel about the word sugar? Well, everybody call it sugar.
Sugar.
Yeah.
Basically, I think that Jamaicans on a whole, like, I don't think they are properly educated about the condition. That's why they call it sugar. Like, so basically, I don't think it's a bad name or whatsoever, because you know diabetes is when the blood sugar is not controlled, so it's at a high level, elevated level. So you have to take insulin to
Regulate it.
calm it down or regulate the sugar in the body. So the name, basically, that's what people call me,
They call you what?
sugar.
Yeah.
Like in 7th grade, I was given that name, but it, like in the beginning, I didn't like it because I didn't like telling people that I had it or anything like that. So in the beginning, when people used to call me that, like I think it was sugar daddy at first, like it was a joke, like in my class. So it's people that was in my class. It's like one day I didn't come to school because I went to the doctor, and I think my mom gave the teacher a letter, and then I think she told the class or something like that. So after that, I had that name. But in the beginning, it was irritating. But after a while, I kind of got used to that, and I just took on the name, basically.
Now, for you, Imani, what began to happen to you? What were you feeling at 10 years old?
Frequent urination, a lot of thirst, dizziness, and sleepy.
Wow. So what were your friends say? Did your friends started to notice any changes as well?
No, sir.
Yeah.
I was just leaving grade 5 to enter grade 6.
Did it affect your schooling?
A bit.
Yeah,
Yes.
tell me about it.
I didn't get to go to school on the first day of grade 6 because there were frequent admissions. So I was in and out at the hospital.
Well, tell me about being admitted into the hospitals from time to time, or admitted into the hospital from time to time. You know, you might be home and you have to be rushed to the hospital. You know, how does that make you feel? That do you get up daily thinking about that?
Yes, it's very sad knowing that today you're alright, then tomorrow you're sick and go in hospital. And the needle sticks are, they're painful, bad.
Yeah. How do you handle the needles or
Um,
cope with it?
Like basically, she's saying that that's hard, but I think like the first week that I got admitted in the hospital, like it was about 3-4 days, and then the doctor was saying that you have to do this for the rest of your life, and I was like, all right then, because I would say the needles now, basically I just take it like 2 times a day, so if like I usually like if I'm going places, like I would usually carry mines, like to school I would have mine in my bag. I went to the nurse and take it. So it wasn't anything painful for me. I just know that I have to live with that, because I went to like camps and so forth, and I saw like this was a regime for others. So I just took on to that, and it's like I was admitted and like the first 2 days I was like a professional, like I just know what to do.
We take a break. When we come back, we continue our story with Ronaldo and Imani.
Alex Show.
Welcome back to the show. We continue our conversation with Imani and Ronaldo. Imani,
Yes, sir.
have you ever had to be hospitalized? Have you ever had a serious, case?
Yes, I went in DKA twice.
What is that?
Diabetic ketone acidosis. Like, what else? Like when you eat a lot and the insulin, it's not working properly, so your blood sugar went over. And it sent me into coma twice.
So a low sugar level can affect you, and a high sugar level
Can affect
can
you as
affect
well.
you. How does a low sugar level feel?
You start sweating and dizziness and sleepy.
And how do you recover from that?
By eating something sweet and waiting half an hour, then check it again and see how you feel.
And how does a high blood sugar level feel?
Thirsty, constant urination, and sleepy as well.
Have you ever been hospitalized, Ronaldo?
Hospitalized after knowing.
Yeah.
Basically, I think once, like the one time that I was hospitalized, it wasn't really anything serious. My doctor was practically punishing me, saying that I should control my blood sugar. That was an early stage. So basically, I was hospitalized to be monitored in a sense. What she was saying about ketoacidosis is basically when protein is spilled into the urine, so therefore the body is burning fat for energy.
Okay. What's the difference? The difference with being a type 1, type 2, and how many types are you aware of?
Basically, type 1 diabetes is also called juvenile diabetes. Type 2 diabetes, or type 1 diabetes is when your body depends only on insulin. Type 2 diabetes is when the body depends on, it makes insulin but doesn't use it effectively, or it does not make insulin. But with type 2 diabetes is mostly in adults, and they can take pills as well as insulin.
Right.
And you have, I don't remember the other one, found in pregnant women.
Well, is there one that only affects children and
Type
adults?
1.
Type 1 only affects children.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you can eat now and not eat?
Can eat or not eat. I think you basically can eat everything, but in proportions, moderate proportions. So I basically eat every food basically.
Right. Is it for you? Is it a constant struggle for you to live up to the demands of being a type 1?
Expound on demands.
Right. You have to use the insulin. You have to always monitor your food intake.
Honestly speaking, like sometimes, like if I don't take my medication, I don't remember that I have diabetes at times, unless probably a low blood sugar or high blood sugar. So basically, I'm just an ordinary person. So I just take my insulin and go to the doctor when I'm supposed to. I'm just living a normal life.
Yeah, great. For you, Imani, what do your friends say to you? Do they treat you any differently, or how do you interact with them?
Interact like a normal kid, same at the same time. Not really. I don't really tell everyone because sometimes I feel like everybody just feels sorry for you and start, as you said, the unnecessary questions. And so how you have to stick yourself every time, feel, like them look away. And sometimes it just get me fed up, and I don't really like telling a lot of people about it.
All right, but when you do tell people, how do you help them to understand, the condition, and also probably you also tell them how you'd like to be treated if you realize they are not being nice to you?
Not really. I don't really say anything to anybody. I just tell them that it's just a little condition. You can still be yourself. You can't let, because a little diabetes, you stop doing what you used to do and those things.
What are some of the dreams that you have for yourself, Ronaldo?
Dreams that I have for myself. Dreams like right now I'm focusing on school.
Yeah.
So I'm basically doing a marketing degree, minor in management studies and psychology.
Great.
Dreams, I want to be an entrepreneur. I am already an entrepreneur.
Great, what do you do?
I want to be a successful entrepreneur. So basically I have a natural juice. I sell natural juices and shakes and so forth.
What's the name? What's
Sugars Blends.
Sugars Blend.
Definitely.
Well, you see how the name is working for you.
Yeah.
Right.
So dream, I want to be a successful entrepreneur. Just a successful figure in life, and just to make my mother proud.
Great, great. Do you think that mentorship to other children who are living with diabetes as well would be something that you'd willing to take on as well?
Yeah, sure. Because like at the support group meetings that I attended in the past, I was always the one to have spoken. Like if there was probably a radio show or anything like that, the Diabetes Association of Jamaica always call upon me to always be there to represent.
Great. Is it expensive to manage the condition?
Expensive, I would say very expensive. Like in the past, like when I was just finding out, like my mom spent a lot of money on medications and so forth. I don't remember how much I vial for insulin, like I think $3,000 or something like that.
And that lasts, a vial, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically that lasts for a month.
Yeah.
And it's like this size. So and I usually, like it's two of them and I mix them. So it's basically like, that would be like $6,000 for the month plus test strips and so forth. But help from the Diabetes Association of Jamaica, they have a program, Life for a Child program, in which children such as myself get the medication free.
Great. What more do you think can be done to support people living with diabetes?
More public education, programs, mentorship programs to help people cope with it. Basically, I think the government can do a lot in terms of like for the medication. Like not everybody is going to be fortunate like me to be able to get medication free.
We take a break, and when we come back, we meet Imani's mother, and she will tell us about how she has been caring for Imani. Welcome back. Imani's mother is now with us to share more of your experience with Imani living with diabetes. Yeah.
Yes.
Take me to that day. Suyang, your name is
Suyang.
right. Suyang, nice name. Take me to that day when you learned that Imani is diabetic.
Wow. It was the summer holidays. She was about to enter grade 6. However, what pulled my attention is the fact that as a child who loved juice generally, she didn't want any juice.
Yeah. No juice.
It was just She just wanted water constantly, and then I noticed she was sleepy. It doesn't matter what time of the day it was, as early as the morning was she woke up, she wanted to sleep.
For how long that lasted?
I noticed this it was around somewhere in June leading on, but in August now it really hit me that something is wrong.
What was different from in June versus August?
The sleepiness got worse, and she was extremely tired and easily agitated. It doesn't matter what happened, the slightest thing happened, she would just hit the roof, and I noticed she started to lose weight rapidly. So my husband said to me, no, Sue, something wrong, bring her to the doctor. The Monday, on the 15th, I brought her, I had taken them out on a treat, and she had some Oreo slush, I think it was. And the Tuesday, she was just like very tired. I'm like, doctor visit now. So I brought her to the GP. While sitting there, I was reading all the signs in the doctor's office, and I'm like, oh God, this looks like sugar. And, you know, after we went in and we spoke with him, because
you're fearful now?
I was very fearful. But prior to that, I had been taking her to the doctor constantly because she was having constant tummy aches. And we did ultrasound, barium enema, a whole bag of tests.
Are you aware of anyone in your family that's diabetic?
Her paternal grandfather is. And so, you know, we got some more tests to be done, but I said to the doctor, no, do the finger joke. And he was like, are you serious? Why are you so extreme? I said, no, please, just to appease my mind.
So the doctor was just about to send her home?
Sent you to the lab to do the general routine test, which we would not get at the same time. But there was something in me that's saying no.
Yeah.
And when he did it, it was so high. He said he was surprised she was not in a coma.
Wow.
Gave me a letter, and he said, Mommy, to the hospital immediately. He hugged me and he cried. Of course, I start bawl. And I went to the hospital, Percy Juna. Immediately she was dealt with. And the next time I saw her, there were tubes everywhere. And my heart was literally in my throat. I was like, oh God, somebody wake me up. Please wake me up.
What kind of emotions you noticed on her, in her eyes or face?
She started to cry at first, and she was like, Mommy, is what? What is it? What is it? And I just kept hugging her and telling her it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You have what Grandpa has, but you did nothing to cause this on yourself.
Imani, when you saw all of that happening, do you remember how you felt?
No, but I didn't really understand everything because I was young.
Wow. Yeah.
And then she didn't get to start school September. She didn't go to school until October. She was in the hospital. It was basically uncontrolled. I myself was new to this, so I had to do a lot of reading to find out what exactly is happening. And then I discovered that, you know, juvenile diabetes type 1 is in children, and they are insulin dependent. However, we were sent home. Her sugars were normalized, and we were sent home. No medication. I was like, yes, we're all right. I don't think it was 2 weeks later, we were back in the hospital.
What happened?
She wasn't waking up. And I was like, Lord God, I thought the worst, you know? And so I think it was 3 a.m. I called a girlfriend of mine, and she rushed out, and we brought her in to the hospital, and she was hospitalized. From then on, it's just, she spent about, that entire school year, most of it was spent within the hospital. The September of 2016, we were referred to UE, and that is where we have been going since.
Right. Missing out on school.
It was hard, very hard, because you fall back a bit, so now the teacher have to keep you over and teach you over everything all over again.
So all of that just proved difficult for you?
Yes, very difficult.
How did you manage during that time? No, you're now learning, you know, a different way of how to care for your child.
It's like having a newborn baby in the house. You're constantly on your toes. The sleepless nights are back.
And you have other children?
I have 4 girls. She's the eldest. So it was like a newborn baby in the house. There are 2 a.m. checks. I learned that that is the most critical time for a diabetic, as they could easily slip off into a coma.
And you keep doing this
I
now?
have to get up and I stick her. I check the sugar levels. If it is where she's going too low, I have to rush to the kitchen, get something sorted out, and have her up and running.
She was diagnosed at age 10.
10.
Right? Do you have concerns for your other children?
I do, especially the moment I hear them complain of a tummy ache, I'm like, oh my God. Because through reading and doing my own research, I realized that it is a symptom of juvenile diabetes, constant tummy aches. And so I kept thinking, oh my God, if I had known before, from the time she was having these, all the warning signs were there, but you know, typically, nobody was expecting that.
Do you have to constantly behind Imani about what to eat?
Oh yes.
Yes, Imani.
Oh yes.
Yes.
You know, they say some things in life never change, but I pray and I see changes happening. I thank God. I remember the first time she was placed in the ICU. I walked onto the pediatric ward that morning and her back was turned. And, you know, I started to sing her song. There was no movement. And I said, Imani, there was no movement. And I went over to her and her eyes were just wild, wide open. And I started to shake. Then I turned around and I realized the doctors and the nurses were very busy. You know, you walk into a ward and you see nurses and doctors up and about, you say, something is going down.
Yeah.
It was a shocker to know that it was my child. So the doctor walked over to me and she said, Mommy, Imani's not doing well. We're taking her. She's not able to function on her own. I heard nothing else after that. I just saw her mouth moving. My legs became butter. Somebody put a chair behind me because when I went down, I knew I was sitting up. And that was it for me. When they prepped me and told me ICU and so on, it was an outer body experience. I felt like it was a surreal moment. Like, no, this is not happening. Not me, not Imani. Then when they told me where to enter the ICU department and I went to the door, not the door opened and they were dressing me. I was like, oh God, this is really happening. And they said, Mommy, when you go inside, don't be alarmed, don't touch anything. When I went in and I saw the machines and the tubes and everything, I'm telling you, it feels like it was just yesterday. It was a shocker for me. And especially because they said, don't touch anything. You know, as a mother, you want to touch
your child now, yeah?
Yes. And I went over her and I started to pray. And I'm saying it now. I looked over, if nurse was looking, I'm like, oh, touch her, go for it. And kiss her up. And I'm like, Mommy's right here. And I started to sing for her and everything. But
You remember that
there.
song?
You Were My Sunshine.
Yeah.
To this very day, she loves that song
You're
from
my
she was a baby.
sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy
when days are blue. She's about to start tearing up. How much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Yeah. Well, that's very beautiful. So what do you want to say to Imani now? You know, your motherly love, words of encouragement to her.
Imani, you know, beyond the shadow of a doubt that I love you. And if I could take this away from you, I would have. But I have taught you and the doctors and everybody who has been rallying around you, we have educated you enough to know that you did not bring this upon yourself and life does go on with living according to the requirements. Can I just say that she was bullied at school to the point where her life was threatened.
Why would they do that?
They said that, as I said before, she was frequently in the hospital.
Yes.
And some smart mouth child started to say that each time she's in the hospital, it was an abortion. And then somebody else decided that she had old people disease, so she must dead. And they started basically to plot against her. I remember how I found out she was very angry And, you know, I wanted to find out what was happening. And then she just outbursts, "Mommy, me I gonna make them kill me?" I'm like, "What?" And then I really didn't wait for the rest of the story. I went to the police station, who directed me to school, and we took it from there. The dean of discipline got to the bottom of it, and indeed it was so. They were literally planning to take her out.
I wish I could understand it. Imani, I want you to, because there are a lot of children across the world, right here in Jamaica, who are being bullied as well. I want you now to tell the bullies why they should not do this. So I want you to tell us in your own simple words.
They should not bully. They should not bully other kids because it could have been them who are getting bullied, and so it's not a nice feeling.
Thank you so much for that. Suan, Su Yang, thank you so very much for sharing with us.
You're welcome.
And I'm sorry about the bullying, but I'm happy that the matter was dealt with.
Yes.
All right, and remember, you can live a great life.
Yes.
Yeah, you can. But remember, just eat properly, right? And follow the guidelines, and you are gonna be super great. And I wish you all the best. Yeah?
She's a miracle.
You are
the
a
doctors
miracle.
didn't think she would have been here.
Yeah, see? And you're a mother's sunshine. All right, thank you again for sharing with us.
Thank you for
We want to thank Imani and Su Yang for sharing with us, and Ronaldo. The Alric Show will be back next week.
Alric Show.